cried. But listen, we got used to it, nothing else. It was awful. And we were laying one on top of other. Can you imagine so many people was laying down till we arrived, and then they started to separate us.
December 5th, 1995, interview with Mrs. Irene Rosenbaum. Tell me what happened after the cattle car arrived at Auschwitz.
When we arrived to Auschwitz, and they opened the door, they had from Poland, from Slovensko boys who were there before us, much before. They came up and they said to us, just take how much you could able to take food. Later we ship everything, whatever you have left over, to your place. And the mother should go with their children, the mother will work. They made us believe. And they started to tell my sister, she had 2 children with her, that's hers, where is your mother? So she showed my mother. And he said, give the children to your mother, she will watch them for you.
This was Leah, your sister
Leah, yeah. And then she had my sister, Hannah Gittel was her name, and I had a brother, Pinchas Chaim, and I said to him, Pinchas could go to my father, because they said right away the men should go on one side, you know, just by the cattle where we arrived, stay on one side. So he came back, that one of the men said he should go to my mother. And he cried, you send me to my father, and they send me to my mother. But they didn't want he should go with my father, because they wanted to save my father. He wasn't so old. And then later on, you know, when all we came down from it was empty, the train went away. No, it was standing the train, and we started to walk forwards. Forwards was by the end of the train, was sitting Mengele with a few SSs. And he just waved, you go right and you go left. I was looking at where is my mother, so I saw she went with the 2 children and the 2 grandchildren. And I saw my aunt, you know, who lived at the Rosenthal.
She was also sent to the left.
She was also sent to the left with 2 children, a girl and a boy. And then we started to walk. And when we walked, we had to walk a few barracks. And we saw ditches burning. Later on, we find out that was burning their people too. They couldn't burn so much in the crematorium, probably the sick ones. They left it on the road to put them there. Matter of fact, when we came down, we saw a few sick people. They couldn't walk, you know, they just put them down. Anyway, they took us in a big empty place. They told us undress, just the shoes to leave on. And then they were their girls who cut us hair right away. Matter of fact, I was standing next to my sister Miriam, and I said to the other sister, Frida, where is Miriam? She said, she's standing next to you, don't see her? She was tall and dark, and she looked ugly. Without hair, I didn't recognize her. It was awful. And we were standing for a few hours, and then they took us to a barrack till we went to the Birkenau, to the barrack 3, number 3. That was the first barrack we came in. Was very windy, you know, it was chilly.
What time of year was this? When was this?
We left home May 18.
1944.
44, yeah. And then they just put us in counted the people, how much space we have in bed, and we couldn't put down just like the herring we were laying down. If one of them wanted to turn them. Anyway, a lot of girls, like my sister or other married people, had small children and even infants. They used to ask, where is my baby? So the Blokova, who was in charge of us, she was there maybe 5 years before.
And she was a Jewish woman.
A Jewish woman. She came, she was a Blokova. She was from Czechoslovakia. They all were Czech girls. And
do you remember her name?
I do. I remember her very. No, Martha. That was a different. It was a 21 block. No. And then they asked who knows very well German. So they had to raise the hand. So they took a few girls who will watch us, give us eat, you know. And the girls who had babies, they asked the Blokova, where is, when we see the children? So they said, the children you want to see, look the fire. Can you see the fire? Right away. We said to her, she's crazy. We didn't believe it. We didn't believe it for a few times. Even they told us, even we saw it, we couldn't believe us. So they were crying, and then, you know, they were mad, they were off, you know, that she had to control us there. And was very emotional. And the girls who worked there, they give them the job. They, 1, 2, 3, they got also very, very tough. They learned the tough way because people, they couldn't control everybody, you know. They were screaming, they were crying. They didn't behave, you know, they didn't know what goes on. And
did they beat the
Yes.
women that were in charge? Did they beat very often?
Yes, they did. They did. But I didn't get from them beating. I just got from an SS beating. Then they divided us. My sister, Frida, went to the kitchen to work because she was heavy. I mean, she wasn't heavy, but she had more strength. They could see which girls was able. And then I had another aunt with us who had 2 daughters. They went also to the kitchen.
What were their names?
One was Hindi and one was Rivki.
And your aunt's?
My aunt, Pearl. Her husband was here, my uncle in the United States.
What was her last name?
Pearl Katz. That's my father's brother. And he was here in the United States. And she was with me. And two daughters went to the kitchen. One was Hindi and one was Henchi. Both worked in the kitchen. So they, right away, they give them numbers on the hand in the kitchen, and we never got, you know.
You didn't get tattooed?
No, we didn't get tattooed. And they brought in from the lodge, the ghetto we saw there. They looked like Muslims, you know, they were so hungry. And they brought in from Hungarian, you know, the delegate that they remain, you know, that they were kept in quarantine, and they brought them in. And matter of fact, the large people were 5 years in ghetto. They looked like really Muslims, but then they weren't fussy for the food that they got. They used to bring the food like in garbage cans, four girls, and the middle, the barracks, 2 sides was barracks, and the middle was a road with little stones, and sometimes they spilled on the floor, and from the lodge people, they used to pick it up and to eat it with the stones. They were so hungry. And the Hungarian, when they came in, they said to them, what kind of pig they are. Didn't go through a few days, they were the same pigs like the rest of them, because they still didn't starve when they came in. They was good condition, and that's it. My sister, who was Frida in the kitchen, I was able to get a little bit from her, not much, because they were also afraid to steal and bring out. And one day, one of the cousin, Hindi, who was in the kitchen, she asked me to wash her a slip. And I didn't have time. I washed her in the washroom, and I didn't have time to give it to her. So we were standing Zelopel, and I had it under my arm. And when the SS came to count the people, they came every day, every morning, every night.
This was the roll call.
Yeah, to count. And she saw something I have under the arm, and I told her. So she gave me such a zwei patch that maybe even now I feel my ears. She was a very strong woman, and she hit me for that. That's it. She took it away, she threw it away, and finished. That's all.
Tell me, what was the roll call like? How many hours did you have to stand?
Depend. Sometimes you have to stand because of the SS didn't arrive on time, or somebody was hiding and the numbers was perfect, the numbers what they had on the list. Some was not sick children, you know, who hide themselves in the toilets or under the barracks. They didn't come out, and we had to, on the knee, we had to stay. And when it was bad weather, and we didn't have hair, you know, like cold already. It was so cold. Or summer, when we were there, it was hot, burning of us. It was an interesting climate. When it was hot, it was very hot. And then when it started to be cold, you know, later on, it was very cold. So every day came in new people. Every day they came with the train. We saw it on the back, you know, where we had the washrooms, the toilet, the sinks, you know, separate. Matter of fact, I was there later on, you know, they took out from our barrack people, and they brought fresh people. They shipped us to a different barrack. We were in a few barracks. My sister Leia was pregnant, so we were standing sail up her, 5 of us, always 5, but I had just 4 sisters, and one of my cousins, the Rosenbaum, was standing with us. And she had a long dress. We hid her, you know, when the SS came, they shouldn't see her that she's pregnant. As soon as they spot somebody's pregnant, they took her away. Matter of fact, later on, we were in a barrack, 21, over there was from Homena, a rabbi's daughter. She was very, very wild. She was there 5 years. And she got in 2 cousins. You never saw such a beautiful girls, woman, pregnant with big stomachs. And they were hiding her. They give her all kinds of medication to give birth. One day the SS came in and they spotted and they took her away. They wanted she should have the baby, and they couldn't do nothing with them. Beautiful. And the same time they came in a sister who was a Hungary. But the Hungary people, they recognized each other. She was the one, the sister, I think so, she was an older sister, that I don't remember. She calmed her down. I to slow down. She shouldn't be so wild. She shouldn't be, you know, so with the people. And when we left the 3 lager, the 3 number, I find that 21 number. There was the I2. Over there was another girl from Slovakia who was also 5 years there. She was assistant for the Blokova. And she saw us, and she recognized me special because I used to go every summer to my grandfather in the village for the summer. And she had her grandfather next door. She was from Slovakia, and she came there for the summer, and she knew me very well, and she knew the Rosenthal girl who was my age. And she said, "Children, I see you, I can help you nothing. You don't have to know me, and I don't know you." She didn't want to be somebody should know that we know each other. But now I'm thinking back, she probably told the Blokova that we are somehow relation or we know each other from hometown. She lives in Israel, but nobody got in touch with her yet. And
So did she do any act of kindness towards you?
she did. She
Like
did.
what?
But she didn't give us food after it. She looked away. Like the Blokova, now I'm thinking she must know who I was. She gave me a job to the shovels they had in the washroom to give out for the brooms for the girls to go sweep the streets, the sidewalk, you know, the dirt. And another girl, two of them, we watched backs with the tools, and we gave out in the morning, and whenever they went back, they brought it back, and we watched it. That helped me a lot to see what goes on. I saw every day when the trains came in, I looked at them, how they emptied. I never believed that it's possible, but they told me that the crematorium is burning. But the people, we didn't believe it, but we saw it. And
Did you see the smoke all the time? You saw the chimneys burning?
Burning day and night. Day and night, like you see a fire in the United States, that was burning those chimneys. Day and night, they never stopped. And we saw the people when they came in. We looked at them, you know, that they grabbing another package, and they schlepping, you know, it was awful to see. And when
Were you able to see where the new Jewish people that were coming off the trains, where were they taken? Did you see where they went?
They never came to us. They just took them the other side. You know, the track, the other side was the crematorium, the washroom. They took them over there, and then they selected from there, like they took us there. We, you know, like to undress or put on, you know, the striped dresses we had on. Later on, when they already they took us the clothes, they had to put in the machine because the lice or everything, you know, to sterilize. So they mixed already the clothes. We didn't have always stripes. Sometimes came out different clothes, you know, if they didn't have enough. And the SS was standing, they sterilized us, you know, whatever they had, whatever we had here, you know, because of the lice.
They used chemicals.
Chemicals, yeah, a brush, and SS did it, girls did it, SS did it. But the SS sometimes saw a very nice, good-looking girl, he waved, come back, wanted to see her again, just like this. They didn't do nothing because they couldn't do nothing. They were surrounded. And then one day, when I was in 21 block by I-2, she used to tell for her sister, look at this little one. She walks in, she walks out. Nobody was out and in. Now, I remembered she probably knew that I'm somehow related to the other girl. So when we saw the SS came in, we knew already that they coming for people. So I took the shovel out because my sister was inside. They had Blocksperre. Blocksperre meant that they closing the barracks. Nobody should go in. It was empty. Maybe a few girls who was cleaning, they left outside. So I used to go with a shovel or a broom to when they already standing in the line, you know, to select, because he saw it, which is more, sometimes they came to look who has nice hands, nice eyes. They always had some excuses, you know, what for they taking away. So I used to take out, once they were selected, my two cousins, the Rosenthal's, and I grabbed them out, but then they called them another time. But then they were, I heard, they were walking a lot, you know, towards the Russian, they had to run away. the Germans, different places. So then if they weren't able to walk, they finished them off on the road. That's so. A lot of them we saw walking anyway. And the barrack, the block of the girl who was watching us.
What was her name?
Aitu. One day they came in there. That I was there 6 months, and not one day was a normal day. My sister Miriam once, my sister who was Frida in the kitchen, an SS came in. It was raining, pouring. I didn't even know about it, that they took her. And she was very tall, and she was the last one to walk. He covered himself with a raincoat, a hood, and he didn't look in the back. He had a certain amount of girls, not much, because probably he needed some place to replace the girls. And my sister, somebody noticed, my cousin noticed that my sister is walking behind the Germans in the back. So my sister Frida was running to the window, and she saw that's my sister. She went out and she yelled. He didn't hear it, and she started make with the hand. She cried that they taken her, and she waved to her, "Come here." And she didn't think twice. She came, and the nurses never saw her. She came to the kitchen, and she grabbed her. She took her to the toilet on the side. If the SS in the kitchen would see, one of the women saw it in the kitchen, what goes on, but she was quiet, but not an SS, a block of her. And like this she remained. And then she was caught another time by Dr. Mengele.
This is your sister Miriam.
Miriam, yeah. She heard that's a black spare, that they closing the barracks. She wanted to go out from that barrack. She figured maybe she goes in another one. She was by the door in the back, was a long barrack, all of them. It was like 1,000 people in one barrack was laying in the beds. And he was running after. He asked her, "Where are you running?" You didn't hear that's a blocksperre, you're not allowed to go out? She said, "I wanted to go in the bathroom." So he just gave her, nothing serious as smack. And he said, "You stay here, Mendelsbara." Then another time he recognized her in the line also, but he didn't say nothing. He was a very good-looking man, but they had Grace.
But what did he look like? What do you remember about Dr. Mengele?
He was very nice, good-looking, tall, dark, very handsome. He could look like a movie star. That's what he looked.
How did he act? Did he come to make selections all the time?
He came, but he had helpers who did it, the dirty job, Sometimes he came himself. And he had a German SS, a woman. Grace, her name was Grace. She was beautiful. I don't know, maybe it was a girlfriend for Dr. Mengele, but she was tough girl, very tough girl. She used to go on the line to count look the people. Some of the sisters was in a row, like 4 or 5 was sisters, and she used to ask them, "If you are sister," and they said no. She killed them there on the spot.
She shot them?
Not shot them, but she was hitting them, that they lying. And once she came to us, I was also 4 girls. We were together in the beginning. Miriam, Leo, Frida, and me, and a cousin, Rosenthal, Malki. And she asked me, I was the first time because I was the youngest and the smallest from all of them. So she asked me, "Sind ihr Schwesters?" I said, yes. She didn't say not one word, she went to She didn't like when people were lying, see. And then one day, one of my aunt, Mrs. Katz, who the husband was here in the United States, who was with me, she was in the washroom. She had a job to wash the sinks. And I was there, and a few girls there, because over there I have the shovel. And we saw her coming in. We ran out the other side. I didn't want to stay there as she comes in. She was very wild. And so she said, she went to my aunt, and I yelled Hungarian to my aunt that she should come out. She didn't want to come. She was standing there. So she went straight to her and she asked, is that sober? So my aunt said, yes. Yes, sober. Look at it again. Is it sober? And she said, yes. So the third time she said, yes. That's clean. That's what I mean. She had a stick in her head. She started to beat her head. She cracked her whole head, that the blood was, what shall I tell you, like when I sink, the water was coming out. And then she said, go Schweine, wasch dich ab. Go, you when you pig, wash yourself up. So they took her in a revier. You know, revier is like temporary hospital, you know, for 1 day, 2 days people were there, not more. And they bandaged her head up, and they put her, she came with us in the bed laying, and 2 children who was in the kitchen working there, they came to her and she started to tell them that, all right, I have my life, I'm, you know, you're young and you should go on, and I hope you meet your father and here and here. And she said goodbye. Meantime, we stayed longer there. And she became, you know, better. They took off the bandage for her, and she was able to come with us further.
So she came back to the barrack, to you?
No, she came right away. 1 day she was just in a revier. She couldn't stay longer there. But she came to the barrack, and then later on she got better when they took off the bandage. So she was able to go further to the working camp where we went. So I was always with her, and the cousin also. Till we didn't come home, we were always together.
Could you tell me about, you told me there was a Czech lager.
Yes. Next to us, was a Czech lager. They came from, oh my goodness, not Tepličanov, what they came.
They came from Czechoslovakia.
And they were the lagers, but family together. They all came together there. They called it the Czech lager, but families, parents, children, all of them. And
were this men and women, or?
Yeah, the whole family. And a lot of them died there. They were so already worn out. And they weren't long there because they took them away much before us.